Hey guys, how's it going? Pete Mercer here. So, torque, what is it and why is it important? Well, torque is something that produces or tends to produce torsion or rotation. So this happens at 2 points in our body. We've got the ball and socket joint at our shoulder and then again at our hips. So what happens is you've got the socket, you've got the ball joint, and it moves very freely around there. So because it moves freely, it's very easy to get it into a strong, tight position where you can generate torque and power, but it's also very easy to come away from that and be in a really compromised and unsafe position. That's where you get things like pain in your shoulder, clicking and stuff like that, and tight hips. So, how do we actually generate torque in the first place? Well, we're going to start from the bottom up. So, creating torque at our joints here, feet facing forward, shoulder width apart. The cues for this: screw your feet into the ground, try and spread the floor, okay? So that gets us into a nice, very strong position with our legs, which means if we want to do something like a squat, all we have to do is try and keep the shins vertical, push the knees out, strong position, come down, there you go. Very, very easy, nothing's going to go wrong because you're in that strong position. If I didn't screw my feet into the ground and I left myself in a compromised position and didn't focus on all the cues, I would go down to the squat like this, and then you can see I haven't got the balance, toes are coming off the ground, back is rounded, complete mess, going to cause myself harm and injury. So that's how we're going to generate torque and strength in the lower body. And this applies to any time that your feet are on the ground, so that not only is things like squats and deadlifts, it also applies to your bench press and your overhead press as well. So how do we generate torque from the shoulder? Basically this happens anytime we're touching a barbell or like the pull down machines, things like that there, a fixed bar basically. So how we do this is you grab the bar and then we're going to try and break or bend the bar this way. So we're creating external rotation and we go bam, elbows come in, shoulders go into the socket, very strong position. So it means the shoulder isn't compromised, isn't going to come out of place, isn't going to come away from the socket, puts us into the strongest position we can to be able to do any pulling or pressing movements. So that's how we generate torque there. So that's going to apply to things like your bench press, your overhead press, but it does also translate to the squat and also the deadlift as well. So basically you're going to be generating torque here and here at all given times in just about every lift you're going to do. And things that tend to go wrong if you don't generate torque in the legs, knees come in whenever you bend down, so that happens in the deadlifts and squats. If you put your feet too far out, it's very hard to try and spread the floor and generate torque and any power there because you're just in a compromised position. It's not very good when it comes to the shoulders. If you don't externally rotate that there, elbows come out, it's just bad, you're going to cause yourself harm. So that's why we want to generate torque. It removes the variables, puts us into the strongest position we can to perform our lifts. So what I'm going to do now is demonstrate the second hardest lift when it comes to torque, which is the front squat. The hardest is the overhead squat, which I'm not even going to attempt. I'm not an Olympic lifter and I wouldn't be able to do it in the first place. So let's get our setup done. So first things first, we want to, obviously we're grabbing the bar, so let's create torque with the shoulders, which you wouldn't probably initially think when it comes to a squatting movement. So there we go, generate torque like so, and then we're going to step forward and wind up our shoulders so we get into external rotation, strong position. And so feet facing forward, spread the floor, even at this point, knees out, push up. And we're going to walk back. So we want our feet facing forward, shoulder width apart, screw our feet into the ground, try and spread the floor, and we're going to keep our shins as vertical as possible, spread our legs out, keep this external rotation, elbows in a nice forward position which we've created, and we're going to go down into the squat like so. So you can see I'm in this nice strong position and I can keep my back straight and get into that. Basically, that keeps us in a nice, safe, strong position, and I can keep my elbows up, keep my chest high, and not have to worry about trying to force everything up. My elbows aren't caving out, my knees aren't caving in. Nice, strong position to be able to perform a lift very safely and very competently. So that's what it's going to do. It makes you stronger, keeps you tight, will prevent you from injury. So go ahead and generate some torque. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Pete Mercer. Take it easy.